The Communications and Digital Technologies Department has welcomed an order by the High Court, which instructs social media company Meta to permanently shut down several anonymous Instagram accounts and WhatsApp channels. Now, these platforms have been used to distribute explicit child pornography, specifically depicting South African school children. Let's talk to the Deputy Minister, Mondli Gungubele, now. Deputy Minister, good morning to you. Welcome to the program, and thank you. Why is this ruling important?
It's so critical, Imani, in the sense that children exposed to these children's sexual abuse material, it impacts badly on their development, exposes them to risk of abuse, and weakens their healthy relationships. And because their conduct, they have not reached an age where they can actually appreciate the implications of their conduct. In one way or another, they find themselves isolated in societies. So there's a lot of issues that require us to actually do this. What excites us is that the amendment of 2019, which empowered the board to intervene online, is in this judgment, it is finding a concrete fruition. And we want to thank the Filament Publication Boards for the leadership in actually liaising with a number of other stakeholders who are excited about this.
Minister, I just want to point out something, though, and we did speak to the digital law company. I mean, they were the ones who launched this urgent legal action to compel Meta to do what it did, and then the court ruling turned out in the way that it did. Why did it take action on the part of an independent company to do this, rather than our government maintaining pressure on these channels that operate in our sovereign territories? And of course, we welcome, these social media channels. They help our lives in many ways. But when it encompasses this insidious behavior, isn't it government's responsibility to lead the charge?
Maybe it's because we are not reporting to you, Imani, on regular basis. Filament Publications Board, on daily basis, they have got protection officers, they have got compliance officers, and just last 25,000 cases, where 25 cases were analyzed. When you say 25, it means thousands per case. Just in Kempton Park this year, out of a case had about 126,000 plus images and so on being reported. So the Filament Publications Board is actually seized with this matter on daily basis. Not only it, with the police, with the international, institutions, be they hotlines, regulatory bodies, and so on daily basis, the regulatory bodies are actually seized with this matter.
And I appreciate...
We are happy. Yes, yeah.
Sorry, Deputy Minister. And I appreciate the point that you're making. But in all of these cases, and please do correct me and update our information then, it's important to the public, it seems as if we're reacting to these things. What proactive measures can our government, all of the organizations that you talked about, really push for to ensure that not only is there faster takedown or the local moderation that you spoke about by the Film and Publication Board, but actually it isn't allowed to happen in the first instance? And I want to add to that by saying that in some of these WhatsApp channels that are closed down, you just see hours later, someone opening up another WhatsApp channel. So it's about stopping it at the source.
Correct, Imani. Let me say upfront, let's make the concession that we are working on improving capabilities of monitoring. Remember, online, you need digital capabilities to monitor this. We highly depend now on complaints, depending on various other institutions, like this digital law company having observed. And I'm saying to you, case get reported. It's not like we're doing nothing. Case reported, I'm saying, when I say 25 cases last year, it means I'm saying thousands of materials per case. Like I'm saying in Kempton Park, when we say to you one case, 126,000 materials are reported. This is the work that is ongoing. So I'm saying the challenge, which I think I appreciate you are raising, we are working hard to improve the digital capabilities, like using AI in order to intersect these things. The act that was amended in 2019 empowers the board to ensure that we classify the content. That work is that act is in operation to make sure that the bodies that distribute this material, be it Netflix, be it Amazon, and including these three that have actually been instructed, that they reclassify themselves. That act ensures that all distributors of this content are registered, local or international, so that they are on regular basis give samples to FPB so that we check if they comply with these rules. I accept the point that we are working hard to improve monitoring capabilities, which the Act requires us to do.
All right, now come back to the enforcement piece because I think it's important. But enforcement, often if you have, a case in point or something that happened, it serves as a deterrent to other people. In the case that was brought, that we're talking about now, that there's been a successful ruling on brought by the Digital Law Company, we understand that there were threats involving school children from the suspected creator of the channels. And there were these threats that they would release vast quantities of material relating to particular children. What processes are you foreseeing and that you can champion that can be put in place to identify the people in the South African case and bring them to book and make an example of this case, that there will actually be prosecutions barring the digital shutdown of particular channels?
Like on this one, maybe we use this case in point, Imani, that court has instructed them to close the accounts involved. At this point, we are strongly dependent on these social media, that is WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram, to actually ensure that the source of that information is brought. The law requires them to do that, and we expect them to do that. In terms of the law, we are supposed to find out what is the source of this information, so that prosecution can be what to call can be meted.
Right. So where is that at this stage? And I'm sure for the parents or for the individuals involved directly, it would be really important to know where that is now.
The court, the ruling has just been done, Iman. We are awaiting them because the court has also given that directive. Ours is to follow the implementation of that directive. And I think we'll be in a position to update parents and timely.
Okay, well, we'll certainly have you back, or your office can let us know when the next steps have been outlined. But let's go back then to the meta environment. The court has ordered the company to remove the abusive accounts and the channels. What other mechanisms does your department have to monitor and verify that Meta actually complies rather than just promising to do so?
As I said at the beginning, Iman, that at this point in time, we are dependent on a lot of stakeholders. There's a lot of stakeholders who are involved in this matter. As I've said at the beginning, we are working hard now to improve our digital capabilities, which is a gap on our side, which can show that, because the law requires us to monitor the proliferation of these issues. Now we depend a lot on the complaints and the integrity of the platforms involved. So we are working hard to have our independent, over and above compliant officers, which actually ensures that we have got digital capabilities so that 24 hours they are able to intercept these things.
When you say there's a gap, I mean, I'm just thinking, Deputy Minister, in the common course of things, when a company wants to invest in your country or bring services to your country, they have to follow the rules of that country. What you're sharing with us now is it almost seems as if, companies who operate in the digital space are able to take root anywhere in the world without having to comply with the domestic rules and regulations or subject themselves to that compliance. As you say, there is a gap, you're dependent. Please do share then how you really credibly hold, platforms like Meta's feet to the fire.
Running ahead of your questions, Iman, I've said to you, the Act as amended in 2019 empowers the board to make sure that all the content distributors, whether they are international or local, register so that they are subjected to the oversight. So that law is in place as I speak to you now.
Yes, I understand. But the fact that we can have the proliferation of such content, it's almost like a children's game, whack-a-mole. You stop them here and they can just recreate elsewhere, means that this ability to be able to do that in South Africa, given our laws which prohibit that, means that they're able to operate in a way that circumnavigates or circumvents our local laws. And that's the point I'm trying to lean into, Deputy Minister, is how do you get them to modify their service provisions permanently in South Africa when it comes to areas that break the country's laws?
Once you are registered, one of the requirements, you self-classify, and your self-classification will be analyzed. We classify, there's what we call core regulatory and regulatory mechanisms. We worked with all these companies. We're working with them. But the point I want to make to you, Iman, is that whatever law you have, there's always this misfortune that you'll pick up a gap. What you are raising, I've already appreciated, is a gap that must be resolved, but there's a lot of awareness that is being done. If that awareness would not be done, the worst could have happened, but there's a lot of work that must be done in order to improve. When you put the law, there's always sometimes some gap that you will come across. And I've already said to you, the gap now is that we have to work fast to deal with our digital capabilities over and above the stakeholder cooperation, international and domestic, that we're depending on.
Just for families and affected individuals, Deputy Minister, we saw in this particular case that led to this ruling, parents or the affected people had gone to the digital law company. Is there an opportunity either through your department or through the Film and Publication Board to lodge complaints and for those to be taken forward? So, yeah, go ahead.
Yes, we've got a hotline. If I have to read it to you, if you don't mind.
Absolutely, please do.
0800 148 148.
Okay.
That is the hotline. There's also a WhatsApp hotline, channel 083 428 4767. That is South Africa. There's both international, but I don't have the international one now, but there's international. But our hotline is able in way to fit the international hotline.
If we keep seeing issues like this, following a ruling like this, following the provisions of the law, as you've already shared with us, Minister, could platforms like Meta risk losing their license to provide services in South Africa?
No doubt about that. ICASA comes in and all this, the Film and Publication Board, which is empowered by the law to actually regulate this environment with regard to sexual abuse and harmful images and harmful material, prohibited material. Film and Publication Board is well empowered by the law, by the established council, tribunals, enforcement committees, to make sure that there are consequences.